I've joined many Scrum teams throughout the years, new existing Scrum teams, and I've never once joined, supported an existing Scrum team where the developers haven't complained about the number of meetings that they need to attend. In this video, we're going to confirm if this is true or not. I'm going to talk about three things. First, where does this perception come from that there's so many meetings when using the Scrum framework? Second, how many hours of your time goes into meetings when you're using Scrum? And third, how to be effective. How to eliminate the most meetings possible for your developers, for your team members. And this can be done right now, just after watching this video. Now, the problem that I see, I've worked with many teams, the problem that I see is that most teams don't use pure Scrum or pure Agility. Agility is put on top of the old, outdated waterfall model. They use Scrum, they use Kanban, they use Scrum, they use Waterfall. And when a team starts using Scrum, the Scrum guide already tells you that these events are here to eliminate all the other meetings, but this work is never done. All these new meetings or events, daily Scrum, sprint planning, sprint review, retrospectives, all of these should have eliminated all your steering committees, progress update meetings, brainstorming sessions, workshops. All these meetings are not needed when you're using Scrum because the Scrum guide is very clear. You should be doing these things, and if you do these things effectively, all these events effectively, you don't need all these other meetings. But this is not done. We just put the Scrum events on top of what is already existing in terms of meetings. And obviously people will complain. I have a sprint review every 2 weeks, 2-week sprint. The purpose of a sprint review is to invite all the stakeholders. They can see what happened in the sprint, what increment was built. They can give feedback, very important meeting or event. But on top of that, I still need to do other steering committees, attend other meetings with stakeholders because the stakeholders can't all attend the same sprint review. I need to share the same information in different formats to different people throughout the week. It doesn't make any sense. And that's a simple example. The same applies to all the other events. But more on that later. Second, poor facilitation of meetings. Again, Scrum events only work if they are effective. And I don't see that. I don't see that very often. A daily Scrum that takes 45 minutes. A sprint review without stakeholders. A sprint planning that lasts 10 minutes. No refinements. No backlog refinements. Retrospectives every 2 sprints, 3 sprints. These are not effective. If you're doing retrospectives every 3 sprints, it's clear that your sprint retrospectives are not effective, are not useful, are not valuable, else they would be done multiple times per sprint. So focus on that first. Just don't complain about the number of meetings. Ensure that these meetings are effective, but more on that later. First, how many meetings or events do we really need to attend when using the Scrum framework? Again, let's go back to the latest version of the Scrum guide, where the time for these events are clearly prescribed. The example used is for a sprint of 1 month, but you can just divide everything by 2 if you're using a 2 weeks sprint. So your daily Scrum should last 15 minutes, valuable 15 minutes. If you want to know how to optimize your daily Scrum, watch this video right here. The sprint planning should last 8 hours, basically 2 hours per week of sprint. The sprint review, 4 hours at most. And retrospective, 3 hours at most. Again, this is for 1 month. You can divide everything by 2 if you're using a 2 weeks sprint. There's also the backlog refinement, which should be around 10% of a team's time goes to the backlog refinement. In the sprint, if you add everything together, it's around 22% of a team's time goes into Scrum events and the backlog refinement. That's a lot, but that's also plenty of time to do actual work. Again, for me, these Scrum events are considered work because you can't plan a sprint or start a sprint without doing the planning, right? You can't continuously improve without a sprint retrospective. You can't have a daily planning session without the daily Scrum. These events are useful. That's the whole point of this video. The first thing you need to do, rule number 1, all your meetings, all the events that you are currently attending, if you're not providing value or getting value, stop going. Insist that there's another session, another workshop, another retrospective to fix the effectiveness of these events, of these meetings. Then you'll start going again. But if you're not getting value, you're not receiving value, why are you even going? I'm sure that people will understand in your organization, if they truly want the success of your organization, the success of your team, they will clearly understand that you shouldn't be attending this meeting. That's rule number 1. That's the first rule. And you do that for all your meetings, for all your events, workshops, brainstorming sessions. How can we optimize these meetings? Optimize the attendees, the agenda, the duration. And second, add a facilitator. It can be anyone in the team, anyone attending, but there needs to be a facilitator in the session, any meeting, any events, until the meeting is considered by people attending as effective. Then the facilitator can take a step back. Again, it doesn't need to be always the same person facilitating, or the Scrum Master, or the Agile coach. It can be anyone in the team who can do it. And it's a skill, facilitating. So give the opportunity to everyone in the team, and always be asking the question, what can be improved? You can use your sprint retrospectives to talk about that. There's a high chance that some people in your organization will start complaining when you start doing these things. When your team starts to do these things, optimizing, asking difficult questions, some people in your organization, who I will not mention, will start complaining. Show them the data. You have the data, right? You know how much time the team is spending in these meetings. You know that the team is not getting value from these meetings. Document everything. Show all your workshops, your brainstorming session, your retrospectives. Just don't go to a meeting and not do anything about it. No, you need to have this discussion. You can't just go to a meeting that you need to attend. No, you need to have this discussion to improve. And during this brainstorming session or this workshop, they realize that you shouldn't be attending. You don't attend, or you ensure that you're getting value or providing value in the meeting. That's the strategy. Document everything. Show the data. People can just get mad when you're not attending meetings, but when you have the data doesn't lie. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.